Hello, welcome back to Heretic Owl Tarot. My name is Liz, and I will be guiding you on this journey. This is a reading for Leo, wherever Leo shows up for you. Happy early birthday to Leo. I hope that the summer is going well. I hope you have a great year coming up. And in the human design profile readings, I was like blabbering about how these videos are no longer going to be edited at all because of CapCut's change in their like terms of service or whatever, and I just don't feel like finding a different editing software. So with that in mind, like literally however these are recorded is how it's going to appear on YouTube. So if my dog starts freaking out, that's going to be in there. If I end up just sitting here staring at the cards for a little while, just literally looking at them from top to bottom, side to side, just keeping my crown open. It takes a minute to get words from my head to my mouth too sometimes. So anyway, like I said, all of that is going to be in here. And also I think that I'm going to take a break from readings. I don't know for how long, and it could quite possibly be permanent, which makes me want to cry, and I'm like, I'm going to refuse to cry on here maybe. But I don't know. I did start EMDR therapy recently, and that's been amazing, but also really heavy. So I just feel extra fragile, which I feel like, it's exactly where I need to be. Also, just interestingly enough, with Uranus going into Gemini, which is my 12th house. So I just kind of feel like, my subconscious is being scrambled in like the best way. But yeah, I don't know. I love offering these tarot readings. I love doing tarot readings, but truth be told, the channel just really hasn't grown at all. If anything, I think I've lost a few like followers or subscribers, which is totally fine. I am one of those people, like I will subscribe to somebody's channel and then kind of, like once I kind of start getting the vibe that, we're just not aligned, then I unsubscribe and I subscribe to other channels. That's just how it goes. You know what I mean? But also, I've been doing this for 3 years. And honestly, I feel like this is the only consistent thing, except for being alive, that I have done over the last 3 years, which has been awesome. But like I said, it's not growing. It almost, I don't know if it just kind of seems like stuck or stagnant. And of course, I'm blaming myself for that. Not in a positive way either, which, again, therapy, right? So anyway, I think I'm going to take a step back, at least for like a month or two. If it ends up being a permanent thing, then I will probably come back and say that at least, or post something that says that. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But anyway, so that's the announcement, and I'm gonna have to say that at least 12 times. I'm not sure if I'm gonna try to do the human design profile readings as well. I have a family reunion at the end of the month, so I'm hoping that I can get through all of these like by the end of the month and like have the energy to do that. But if anything, my goal is to at least get through the zodiac sign readings. So anyway, and we're using the Cozy Witch Tarot, which, oh my God, like I actually did a reading for myself yesterday. And like I said, I've been doing EMDR therapy, and I've kind of picked up my 14-year-old self, like just reclaiming that energy. And this last week I reclaimed my 3-year-old self. So I did a reading, like, just asking what those parts of me needed. And oh my God, like I seriously, like this deck just like jumped out at me, and I completely forgot about this deck, and I'm so sad that I did that. So anyway, I didn't do it on camera. I was kind of starting to do that like in the intro videos. I ask all my decks for consent before I use them for readings. And at first I asked this deck because this was the one that I was intending to use for the last like week or two. And I can't remember the name of it. It's around here somewhere. But it told me no, which I was like, oh, good. And then I started shuffling this deck, and I was literally praying that it wanted to be used. And I mean, it took a little while to shuffle and get a card out, because I just asked for a yes or no card, and literally like the 10 of Pentacles came out, and I was like, yes. So anyway, the Cozy Witch Tarot is what we are going to be using this time. So what do we have for Leo? Ooh, we have the 5 of Wands, Page of Cups, Page of Swords. Interesting. Page energy. I was going to say that would be so funny if there was another page at the bottom of the deck. There is not. It's the 7 of Cups. The Emperor. Oh, let me make sure. Okay, everything is in there. So the 5 of Wands says, a good coven lets every witch have a say. I mean, the 5 of Wands does like talk about bickering, conflict. Wands are fire. It's about the actions that we take, the motivation behind those actions. Like, are we doing it out of desire, out of creativity, out of passion? Or are we doing it out of like obligation or competition too? Because the 5 of Wands has to do with competition. It's like, is it something that is in alignment with you, or are you doing it for literally any other reason? I also see Wands as being information by way of experience, because that's what you get by trying things. You figure out what works. You figure out what doesn't work. What do you like? What don't you like, right? And truly the only way to figure those things out are by trying them. There's so much shit that I like, hobbies that I literally spent hundreds of dollars on, between different hobbies, buying up all this stuff, convinced that it was going to be my new personality, and I was going to absolutely love it. And I did it. And sure, maybe I liked it for a little while, but then I was like, or I hated it. Or, I mean, there's plenty of things that I picked up and absolutely loved too. But like I said, like, there's no way to truly know that. I keep staring at this, actually. I got into embroidery for a little while. Like, this is one of the last pieces that I've made that I still have, because it's probably my favorite. And I think it was the second thing that I made, second or third, because I was like figuring out like this stitch right here, the satin stitch, the rose, I can't remember what it's called. But anyway, everything else I've either sold or gotten rid of, or two, like you figure out you like certain aspects of something, but not certain aspects of other things. So you can make little tweaks and changes in there, right? But again, you got to try it. Fives are transitionary energies as well. So it's nothing to like pitch a tent and get stuck in. And for me, like the Five of Wands is, it's almost that place of like figuring out if the thing is worth it. Is it like worth your time? Which is actually kind of interesting. With my little intro, it's not about me, I'm just saying. Like, if you guys are going through something similar of like trying to decide if something that you have been putting your energy into taking action towards, and you have a passion for it, you do have a desire for it, but is it like is it giving you the energy? Is it like keeping the flame going, right? Like, is it providing enough oxygen to keep that flame burning? And too, like I was saying, right? I mean, there are 5 people in this card. A good coven lets every witch have their say. So if there are multiple people involved in this, then it is like considering other people's opinions, or even asking for opinions. Like, you don't have to take people's advice verbatim, right? I mean, I'm definitely one of those people, like, I want to hear your thoughts. However, like, I'm going to tweak it to how it is in alignment with me, or you know what I mean? Like, I'm not just going to do exactly what somebody says, but I love to hear opinions, because also too, it's like, having an awareness of possibilities or perspectives that maybe you didn't consider. Because of course, I mean, like, you could be too close to the thing. So it's interesting, like all these people, it's almost kind of too like they're all trying to talk at one time. And they're like sitting in a closet too. That's interesting. I wonder if like something is kind of happening like behind the scenes, or um because it's interesting that they are in a closet. It says a cat reaches its paw underneath the closet door, curious about the sound of sheer chaos coming from the witches just inside. If this furry one could talk, they would probably ask, how can they possibly hear each other over all the shouting? That's the thing. They most definitely can't hear each other. When you're that passionate about something, you'll blow flames at anyone who disagrees with you, not caring if it burns them. If you find yourself in a group argument like this, do your best to contain your inner fire and take the lead. Let everyone have a chance to express themselves freely and without interruption. There is always a middle ground to be found, but first you must listen. The cat over here with their little paws coming under the door. And truly, too, like, let everybody say what they need to say before there's a response to it. Because a lot of the times, too, right? And I love that it even says on there that, like, first you must listen or whatever. Like, because some people do have a tendency to, like, only listen to respond, not listen to understand. And also, like, you all could be saying the same thing from different perspectives too, right? So yeah, I mean, that's good advice. Like, don't let it like explode into something it doesn't need to be, just because there's an unwillingness to stop talking and listen. Also too, like, the Five of Wands, I know we're even still talking about the Five of Wands. We'll move on after I make this point here. It's also about conditioning, because what comes after the Five of Wands is Six of Wands. The Six of Wands talks about victory and success and recognition. It is being victorious in battle because of the training, the conditioning, the fight that you went through in the Five of Wands. I always like think of Mulan too, because Mulan shows up to warrior training, right? Everybody is again competitive. Nobody's really working together. There's a lot of ego, right? But just by like being in proximity to each other, right? And then like even working together, even if it's dysfunctional, um, not to mention Mulan is the one that steps out, right? Like in both the movie and the animated movie, like the live action and the animated one. Mulan is the one that kind of starts bringing things together, right? So, like, this asking you to be the one to kind of step outside of the conflict and lead in a way, be the one to suggest that everybody deserves the floor. Everybody's point needs to be heard. Let's all stop talking at the same time. This could also be something like within yourself. Like all of these other cards don't have another person on them. The only card that does is the Five of Wands. So, this can be people around you who are just kind of like not understanding the direction that you're heading in. It could be you with like your inner thoughts, your inner ambition, your inner motivation. And if you are just, if there's multiple points of views that are happening at the same time in your head or multiple what ifs, then even like organizing them on paper, like literally getting them out of your head and onto like something tangible where you can see them, listed out or written out, whatever. It doesn't have to be listed by importance, but just what is coming out for you. I've also in the past like recorded myself talking if I didn't feel like either writing or typing. I've voice recorded myself talking so that I can, first of all, process out loud. I'm definitely the type of person that needs to process out loud. But again, right, I can hear it through my ears versus trying to like organize it in my head, which doesn't usually work most of the time either. So then we move on to the Page of Cups, which says, let yourself be continually surprised by this thing called life. This is that card about like connecting to your heart, to your emotions. The only thing that we have missing out here is Pentacles to Earth. Not a single pentacle to be found. I'm still going. Bro. The King of Pentacles. Okay. Whoops. Who was this? The Emperor? I think that was behind. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 cards before we get to a pentacle. Yeah, like this is about aligning your ambition, your motivation with your emotions, your intuition, your feelings about things, and also even how you perceive them in your mind. Like, what is your mindset around them? What's going on in the ego, right? So that is really interesting. But anyway, so yeah, Page of Cups. Pages are a little bit like the aces, except for like the ace already exists. It's like the page is starting to take the action. Like they have the Ace of Cups in their hand. And now, what am I going to do with it? Whereas like the Ace of Cups is the energy showing up. It's the new thing coming in. So it already exists with the Page of Cups. It's just now like, what do I do with this thing? My cup is full. I have all of this, possibility. I feel good, right? Like there's something that I love, maybe somebody that I love. It's imagination, again, even creativity, but on the emotional side of things versus like creative problem solving or taking creative action, like stepping outside of the box. Even like creative action to me feels like it's something that is unique to you. Like again, you don't have to go about things the same way that other people do. I was talking about that, like as far as like processing out loud or asking for advice or other people's perspective. Right? It's just like, oh, you know what? I didn't even think about it that way. Or I didn't even think that it was possible to go about something that way. Like, how can I make that my own? Right? So, with the Page of Cups, it is allowing your imagination to expand. It is also to like fun and feeling excited for something. There's a manifestation aspect to this too for me. I love that they're standing on the beach too. Like there's a comfort or like a relaxation thing happening. Oops. This page has spent all morning searching for sea glass to add to her ever-growing collection, only to end up with a whole mug full of it. Get ready for something just as awesome and unexpected, she tells you, tipping the brim to show you her finds. In a reading, this card can represent a child or preteen, but not always. More likely, it will represent someone who is in the beginning stages of a beautiful emotional journey. So expect the surprise to kick off a project, a romance with themselves or someone else, or another lovely venture. There may be tons of excitement and eagerness now, which could cloud one's intuition. So be sure to use discernment moving forward. And also what I love about that is, it's almost like, like if there's something that made you feel good, that you loved doing, some kind of pastime, whatever, um it's almost like allowing yourself to get lost in that feeling, like doing something, even if I mean they're literally just walking along the beach collecting sea glass, right? Like they're getting lost in a hobby that they really enjoy, right? And then they end up finding more than they even intended to, and then it's like a domino effect. Because again, even like I feel like I've said a couple times about taking action or doing things that are in alignment with you. That's like figuring out, that's like these baby steps here. Almost like just going back to your roots in whatever capacity. And no doubt, the next step, the next door, the next opportunity will open itself to you. And maybe that's like kind of this chaotic energy over here is like you do have energy that you do want to put into something. And maybe it's like a matter of like getting a little too far ahead of yourself. Like, you know, that saying, if you feel anxiety, you're living too far in the future. If you're feeling fear, you're living in the past. That could be like what is happening here in the Five of Wands, like just kind of thinking too far ahead when really it's like, you know, choose the thing that feels the best to you right now, no matter what, no matter your opinion, your perspective on it, like you're going to learn something, right? It's only going to, again, like either open doors for you, it's only going to bring you clarity on, again, like how do you feel about it? What things do you like? What things don't you like? You know, then you kind of, again, you follow the next thing, follow the next decision that feels good. So we have the emotional side of things here with the Page of Cups, and then we have the mental side of things here with the Page of Swords. Curiosity is a type of magic. And I love that they're like kind of in the mountains here, and they come around one of those what do they call, like tiny libraries or whatever that are free, like, you know, they're kind of sprinkled throughout neighborhoods. This is the, you know, following your heart thing, and again, baby steps, especially, you know, if we've been conditioned out of doing that, like a lot of us have, because of capitalism, and we have to live, right? This is, you know, where you can connect in with your emotions, follow that. And this is, again, even the curiosity part, learning something new, keeping an open mind. You know, like our swords, again, have to do with the mind, our mindset, our belief systems, intellect, knowledge. How are we communicating those things? I also see swords as being the suit of ego, because that's generally where we tend to hear our ego, is in our minds. And our ego is created by the stories that we attach to experiences, feelings. It's the reasons why we do and don't do things. Homeostasis, right? But that can change. That definitely can change. So again, with it being a page, right? This is a new journey of self-discovery. You know, maybe even like trying, you know, so you know you have a good feeling about a certain thing, you know, and maybe you expand on that. What other possibilities exist in the same realm, right? Like, what else can I learn about it? This is really cool. Like it feels really good. I love that the Seven of Cups is at the bottom of the deck, because these are the opportunities and the options that I was even talking about. It says, not every great option you've been given will be a great option for you. Discernment. One of these cards was talking about discernment. Because it's like, just because you try something doesn't mean you're obligated to stick with it. That's the cool thing about this library aspect too, right? Like, you give a book, you take a book, and it's free too. So right? Like it doesn't cost you any money to pick a subject or pick a book that interests you, whatever kind of book it is. You know, I mean, it doesn't even have to be something that's going to teach you something. It could just be a genre of book that you enjoy, but maybe it's an author you haven't read before, whatever, you know. But and then once you're done with it, you can take it back and see if there's something else there for you, or DNF it. And, you know, there's no obligation to continue with something if it turns out to not be a good option for you. You might even figure out that you have been doing a ton of shit that you didn't really enjoy doing, but you were doing for whatever reason, and decide to shelve those things, stick a pin in it, you know? Give your attention, your energy to something else that, again, like does feel good. I love this. Thank you. Thank you so much for allowing me to read your cards. And I will talk to you sometime. Bye.